So I have a video I want to react to. Not really react to, more or less like respond to, right? I really just more or less want to respond to this video from True Underdog. It's titled Mortal Kombat Haters. Mortal Kombat 1 haters are dumb. And I'm definitely like a hater of Mortal Kombat. And I feel like I'm pretty justified in my reasonings, right? Like, that just feels like an aggressive, abrasive title. Which, I mean, I get it, right? You don't want people to talk trash about it and, like, keep people away from it. Whatever, right? Like, I get it as a content creator. But calling MK1 haters dumb, like, what are you defining as a hater? Someone who doesn't like the game for legitimate reasons? Or, a major problem in the Mortal Kombat community, right? And in the DBD community. Maybe it's every community, I don't know. But more or less, like, these days, I guess I'll go with that. I'll go with the old man these days. These days, it's like, no one wants to hear your fucking opinion, right? They don't care about your opinion. They don't want to hear your opinion. They want to hear their opinion come out of your mouth. That's kind of like the thing about it, right? I don't know. I'm very curious. I really want to try to be as objective as I possibly can, because I'm not trying to start drama here. I'm really not. I'm a fighting game player who's played fighting games for over 10 years now. I started with Mortal Kombat X. I played every Mortal Kombat since then, Injustice. So, like, I'm not just spouting bullshit, right? Like, I'm a fighting game player, you know? So, let's check it out.
Mortal Kombat 1 haters are dumb. I'm not talking about people with valid criticisms, or even people that prefer other games. That's completely normal. I'm talking about the people with really dumb takes. The people who find any reason to hate the game, and some...
Okay, combos are too long. Combos are too long for the amount of damage that they do, right? We're sitting here watching a 30-second combo. Legitimately, like 25 to 30-second combos, dude. And they're doing like 30 to 35, 36% damage. Like, that is ridiculous. Watching the same fucking Scorpion combo over and over again 4 different times in a match, dude. The combos are too long. I dislike the story, so whole game is bad. Yeah, that's stupid. Cameos hurt my brain. Understandable for Mortal Kombat community. Prefer MK11, therefore MK1 bad. MK11 is worse than MK1, but I prefer MKX. And because I like MKX, right, that doesn't make MK1 bad. Or MK11 bad. MK11's bad because it's bad. MK1 is bad because it's bad, right? It's not fun. Neither of them are fun. The game is too hard. No, it's not. Anyway, let's continue.
Sometimes they even make things up just to hate on that too. So today's video is all about them, because it's okay to criticize Mortal Kombat 1. I myself have made entire videos about that, but blind hatred is never cool, but it can be very funny to mock. First up, we have the cameo haters. These people are the definition of insanity, because Mortal Kombat 1 has been out for over 1 year, and yet on any post about this game, you're guaranteed to find these haters demanding the cameos get removed from the game. And they actually think this is
okay, but do you know why? One of the main reasons that nobody likes cameos, even assist fighting game lovers like myself, Marvel vs. Capcom is my favorite fighting game franchise. It is a fucking masterpiece, and I can't wait for the next entry, and it looks like we're going to get the next entry after the fighting game collection, right? The reason nobody likes cameos, you have that one crowd, right? You obviously have that section of bad actors, right? Who are like, you know, Mortal Kombat's never had assists or anything like that. That's stupid. 1v1, 1v1 only. Okay, those guys are dumb, right? But if you're grouping all of us together, the reason that fighting game players and assist fighting game players don't like cameos in Mortal Kombat is because they're not assists. If you're going to do something, do it, right? If you're going to put assists into a fighting game, put assists into a fighting game. They did not do that. They were scared to go full hog with the assist gameplay in Mortal Kombat 1. So it ended up feeling weird and janky, right? I don't think that can be denied. Like, when the game first came out, most of the cameos felt weird and janky. In situations where you're like, oh, I can use this cameo here. I can use this assist here in this spot to extend this combo. You couldn't. It was weird. You had to literally time it. Like, you would have to press 1, 2, cameo 3 in, like, quick succession. And, like, yeah, there's difficult timing like that in, like, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Marvel vs. Capcom, obviously. But it didn't feel consistent in Mortal Kombat 1, right? The cameos never felt consistent. They just felt like they wanted to make an assist fighting game to be different or try to appease to the assist fighting game crowd, but they didn't want to fully commit. And so it ended up feeling weird and janky, dude. Like most of them. Now, they've gotten better, right? They feel a little bit better now. But imagine how much better they would have felt if NetherRealm just, like, actually done what they were trying to do, I guess, or were too scared to do, and made all the assists ambush, right? And even some of the ambush assists, bro, like when you felt like they should come out, they didn't come out, dude. It's so weird. It was so weird and janky. It's so weird and janky. It's still weird and janky for a lot of them, but like some of the newer ones are a little bit better.
Gonna work 1 year later. They're still trying this tactic. Like mentioned earlier, it's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, yet expecting a different outcome. The cameo characters aren't going anywhere. They're not gonna get removed from the game. Can you imagine what it's like to be one of these people, just sitting in front of your phone or computer screen all day and
yeah, but you're grouping everybody into that, and I don't think that's really fair. There's valid cameo criticism out there, and you just kind of grouped everybody into one.
Just imagine that being your life. Listen,
if you're gonna make that statement, at least make the distinction
to the game. I myself think that could be fun and interesting to play. But if you're hating on the game solely because it has a new mechanic, then that's just crazy. But here comes the craziest part. Some of these cameo haters will say that MK9 was better because it had a full tag team mode.
Yes,
that's right.
Because it worked like a tag fighting game.
Cameo attacks are complaining the game doesn't have 2v2. Listen here, child. If you can't handle cameos, then a full tag team mode would have you crying on the floor trying to delete this game, but your eyes are too full of tears to see the screen. Once again, some of these cameo
if you're gonna do it, go all out. If you're gonna put assists in the game, put assists in the fucking game. That's the problem.
Are crazy. They think cameos are annoying and tough to deal with, but can't comprehend that fighting off 2 full enemies at once would be way more frustrating for them. And since they bring up Mortal Kombat 9, for the record, just so they know, that tag team mode was absurdly busted. We're talking block strings that were impossible to escape. You had to get hit on purpose and then pray you had 2 bars to use Combo Breaker. But then if you did get hit in Mortal Kombat 9, you were guaranteed to die, because pretty much every character in that game had a touch of death combo with the right partner. And you're telling me you would prefer that over the cameo system. Now, maybe if that tag team mode was balanced, I would agree with you, but we're talking about NetherRealm here. These guys are the kings of unbalanced gameplay, especially back in Mortal Kombat 9, but even in Mortal Kombat 1, people complain about how the same 5 to 10 characters are overpowered. And you expect those same developers to make a tag team mode that is not crazy broken and super frustrating? You're crazy. Trust me on this. If you can't handle cameos, then you won't be able to handle tag team, because it's literally 3 times as complicated. Next up, I want to talk about the combo haters, but real quick, a word from today's sponsor. Alright, and back to the video, because now it's time to talk about the combo haters. That's right, combo haters in a Mortal Kombat game. They exist somehow, even though this series has had crazy combos ever since the very first Mortal Kombat game. If you think Mortal Kombat 1 didn't have high damage combos, you're crazy. If you think Mortal Kombat 2 didn't have touch of death combos, then you're crazy. And if you think Mortal Kombat 3 didn't take those combos and crank them up to 11, then you're also in denial. And I bring that up.
Okay, what are you about to say? Because you're about to contradict yourself.
Because usually the biggest combo haters bring up the old Mortal Kombat games and say that's when the series was best. Well, buddy, I hate to break it to you, but those games had crazy combos too. The only reason you don't know that is because you never fought against skilled players. And that's okay, but don't stand here pretending like you know what you're talking about.
Okay, let me clear this up, because I don't know why this needs to be cleared up. I'm gonna clear it up. The reason that people look back to MK1, 2, and 3, UMK3 when it comes to combos and say like we like combos back then is because it did have touch of death combos. You were dying in 2 combos. You're not sitting here watching a 25 to 30 second fucking combo 3 fucking times, dude. Come on. When Havoc, like when the game first came out, you were playing Havoc and Cyrax before Cyrax got nerfed. That combo that you could do where you used both the Cyrax's assists, it might have used it all in one. I don't know, but if you didn't use it at the beginning, you could use it in the middle of the combo and end up getting a grab, sending them in the air with the Cyrax assist, right? And then resetting in. That was like a 15 to 20 second combo. You know how much that shit did? That combo did like 36%, right? So you're watching like the same combo 6 to 7 times in a match, because the damage is so low. If the damage was still like an MKX where you're doing like 45-50% per combo for these long ass combos, sure, dude, that's fine. We want long combos, but we also want the time to kill to be taken down, so we're not watching the same shit over and over again 3 times a fucking match. I guess another thing I should say is like around the time Takeda came out and like after that, they kind of corrected a lot of the problems when it came to the combos. They made them do more damage. They were cooler. You had more routes to go down. It wasn't just if one was optimal, yeah, it was pretty much the only one you saw, but there were different combo routes you could go down. If you were playing the character, you weren't just doing the same combo over and over again. You had different routes. You had freedom of expression. But like when Takeda came out, and then from what I've seen apparently with Noob Saibot, and from what I've heard when it comes to Cyrax, there's a lot more freedom of expression. The combos are just as long, but the damage is a little bit higher. So they have kind of corrected themselves a little bit, but like the main cast is still the main cast, right? It's still the main cast. They're still like, they still don't have many routes you can go down. It's usually the same 1 or 2 combos. It's not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot. You're seeing the same combos over and over again.
Break it down in simple terms, a combo hater is someone who believes that Mortal Kombat 1 is bad because the combos are too long, or the combos do too much damage.
No, dude, there's so much more nuance to that than just combos are too long, that means you're dumb and you don't like combos. No, listen to the nuance behind it when people talk about it. Don't just hear, oh, combos are too long and tune out, dog. Combos are too long because damage is too low. Combos wouldn't be too long if damage was higher.
These haters actually exist, and at first I wondered where these people came from, because Mortal Kombat 11 had crazy combos too, 70% damage or more, and the combos were
like
easier,
2 or 3
sometimes
characters
you
had
didn't
like
even need
70
a meter,
to 80%
1 or 2 crushing blows
combos.
into fatal blow,
and that was in fucking like player match. And like the normal like ranked base variations, whatever, you were not hitting fucking over 45% with like 95% of the cast in MK11.
Boom, 80% damage in one combo. So where were all these combo haters during Mortal Kombat 11? But that's when I realized they were hiding. That's right, they knew their opinion was dumb and that people would mock them for hating combos in a Mortal Kombat game. But now that tons of people are hating on Mortal Kombat 1 for various reasons, these combo haters now feel emboldened to speak out. So let me be the one to call you out. If you truly think Mortal Kombat 1 is bad because the combos are long, then you are dumb.
At least when you're getting touched of death in Dragon Ball FighterZ, and it's like a ridiculous like 25, 30, 40 second combo, whatever. At least when that's happening, you're dead. You know, the character's dead.
Mortal Kombat 9 had long combos, Mortal Kombat X had long combos, and in Mortal Kombat 11, the combos were long too and required less meter. So the fact you're complaining about Mortal Kombat 1 proves you're either...
And you know how I can confirm that in my head, not only with like the over 800 hours I have on MK11, right? I remember when I first got the game and I booted it up. Right, I had rented it from Redbox because I was just getting back into gaming because I didn't have a gaming system or anything. I booted it up on my father-in-law's Xbox in the living room. I pulled up Noob Saibot. I immediately figured out his B&B in 5 minutes after not playing a video game for like 2 years, right? Figured it out in like 5 minutes, and it was literally like a 12-hit combo.
You're lying about having played the past games, or you only played with your buddies, which once again is completely fine, but
unless you're talking about player match, which if you are in a video like this, you really need to make that distinction. Because player match in Mortal Kombat 11 was a lot crazier. But it seems like you're talking about like fucking, you know, ranked and shit in MK1, so we need to kind of stay on the same page here, right? I know MK1 don't really have all that crazy like gear shit and like different variations and everything from MK11, and even with saying that, we kind of need to keep it base because like Mortal Kombat 1 doesn't have that, so we have to really compare them in a fair manner. You can't compare the player match of MK11 with all the different variations and the different moves that you could add in there that actually made combos cooler in MK11, because MK1 doesn't have that. What you have is what you have in MK1.
What you're talking about. The Mortal Kombat series has always had crazy long combos since the very beginning, and in fact in the 3D era these combos got even crazier. So it really does perplex me how people hate Mortal Kombat 1 for having long combos. In my mind, they're either brand new to the series or only played it at a really casual level and never tried to learn the combos. Alright, but next up we have the story haters. These people pretend that a bad story mode immediately makes the entire game garbage, and you know what that means? They're not fighting game players. Plenty of great fighting games have terrible story modes, but guess what? The gameplay is still incredible, and that's what fighting game players are here for.
What if the gameplay is terrible and the story is terrible? Then what do you have?
Spoiler alert, most gamers buy the game for the gameplay, not the story. That's what movies are for.
That's not true.
Now, of course, if the story is great...
That's not true, dude. Regardless if you want to call them fighting game players or not, like, I understand that. I am a fighting game player. Like, I understand that. I do. These dudes spent, like, $70 on this game. And I guarantee you some of them bought this game for the story. They were like, dude, Mortal Kombat 9 story really like rebooted the games, and they've been awesome since then, right? MK9's story was dope. MKX's story was dope. MK11's story was aight. You know, like, you cannot just sit there and be like, yo, these people are dumb because they bought the game for a specific reason with their hard-earned money, and they don't like the game because the story's bad when that's what they bought the game for. That's fucking ridiculous, dude. Yo, what's up, Dynasty? I spent like 120. I spent 122, bro. I spent 122. If I want to fucking call the game bad because the story's bad, motherfucker, I'm going to.
A fantastic bonus. I love when video games have great stories, but it's not why I buy a fighting game. For example, Tekken 7 had one of the worst story modes I've seen in recent memory, but guess what? I loved that game.
Those people
it was crazy fun, and I played
valid.
it every week with my buddies because Tekken 7 is fun. Yeah, it was fun to mock the story mode because it was so terrible, but it's not why I bought the game, so who really cares? And for the record, Mortal Kombat 11 had a much worse story mode. There was a new plot hole in that story mode every 15 minutes, and the characters acted like idiots all the time, and the main villain was garbage. Kronika is literally the worst Mortal Kombat character ever made. Yes, I'm counting D'Vorah. Kronika is worse than D'Vorah. She supposedly made the entire universe, yet is somehow the dumbest character in the story. If you don't believe me, I made a full video about it. I'll put it right here on screen. Check it out if you want to see why Kronika is such a bad villain. Mortal Kombat 11 had such a bad story mode that it makes the MK1 story haters even more hilarious, because a lot of them will defend Mortal Kombat 11 in that same comment, and that's how you know their opinion is.
Now I'll go ahead and say, like, I really enjoyed Mortal Kombat 1 story. Mortal Kombat 1 story was the best one since it was the best one since 9 for me, I would say. I feel like they did enough to justify calling it like a whole new era, and some of the changes that I guess other people hated, I really liked. I liked Melina, I liked Kenshi, I liked Baraka. I thought Shang Tsung was a very, very enjoyable character. They refreshed him in a way to where he was like the same character, but he was like different enough in his attitude to be like cool. I did like New Raiden. I actually love New Raiden, but no Hanzo was the one thing I hated about it. No Hanzo was the one thing I hated about it. And also, like, no Kuai Lang, right? Like, obviously, not at the beginning of the story, but, like, even in Chaos Reigns, like, Kuai Lang is Scorpion now, so there's no Sub-Zero, little brother Sub-Zero, like Scorpion, but there's no Hanzo, so now there's no Sub-Zero and Scorpion. I'm confused, you know? But I did love, hey, look, brother, I love New Raiden. I thought he was cool. I thought he was everything I wanted Liu Kang to be. He was confident. He was good-hearted. But he wasn't a fucking idiot who fucked everything up every 5 minutes.
Is terrible. If you think Mortal Kombat 11 had a good story, then you must also think that Spider-Man 3 is the best in the trilogy. And there's no defending that. An opinion is an opinion at the end of the day, but don't be shocked when 90% of people make fun of you for having a terrible one. Now, I'm not going to pretend that Mortal Kombat 1 has a perfect
just trying to be spicy?
I'm not a big fan of the multiverse shenanigans, and I also don't like many of the changes made. I understand it's a new era, but having Hanzo not be Scorpion feels weird, and having Sector and Cyrax changed into women also feels weird and unnecessary. There's plenty of things I don't like about the new story in Mortal Kombat 1, but I'm not going to pretend that makes the game bad, because it doesn't. Not only does Mortal Kombat 1 have much better gameplay than Mortal Kombat 11, but the story mode was also better too.
Fucking plot
That's my
device.
opinion. You can disagree, but I think way more facts are on my side here. Alright, but now finally, it's time for the last group of haters, and that's the people who claim Mortal Kombat 1 has no content. That claim is outright absurd to say out loud. And to make things even crazier, these same people will claim that previous games had more content. For example, they'll jump to MK9 because it had the challenge tower. Boy, that challenge tower was completed by most players in a week or so, if not the first month. It was guaranteed to be done with.
I think Injustice 2, as much as a lot of people like don't want another Injustice, I want another Injustice, bro. I want another Injustice. Injustice 2 is like my favorite. Like, it's MKX and then Injustice 2 for me when it comes to NRS. I want another Injustice. But Injustice 2, I think, objectively had the most content out of any NRS game. They had the multiverse tower thing that they did. They had the gear system with all of the different fucking sets. They had the super dope fucking story mode. I think Injustice 2 objectively had the most content.
Once you completed the challenge tower, there was no reason to keep playing it. Now compare that to Mortal Kombat 1, which has the Towers of Time that always give you new modes and new challenges and new unlocks. And also the invasion mode. I know plenty of people don't like invasion mode, but also a lot of people do now. It's gotten a lot better. And every 60 days or so, we get a fresh new invasion mode with more stuff to unlock. And
bro, you want to talk about the definition of insanity, like you talked about earlier? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting it to change. What's worse than that is doing the same thing over and over and over again and being okay with no change. And that's what you were saying right now. If you enjoy this fucking game mode, you're literally doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And I know fighting games are a lot about repetition, right? Like even like competitive play, like when you're playing online, you're picking, usually you have a main, right? You might play other characters, but you have a main. You're playing the same characters over and over again, especially if you're at a higher level. You're playing the same like 3 or 4 characters over and over and over and over again. But everybody plays different, and that's what makes fighting games fun. There's always something to learn when going up against a character, a new player, even if it's the same character, because everybody plays different, right? In this shit, you're playing with the same fucking modifiers on the same fucking stages, doing the same fucking thing with the same fucking end goal. That's the definition, and you're cool with it. That's the definition of insanity. That's the definition of you need psychiatric help if you still like this shit a year and a half in.
Play. So no, Mortal Kombat 9 did not have more content than Mortal Kombat 1. And honestly,
more
Kombat
content
X
doesn't
had less
equal
content than
better
both,
content,
and yet
though.
people still praise Mortal Kombat X because it has fun gameplay. Oh, but the crypt, don't forget about the crypt. Mortal Kombat 9 had the crypt and it was super fun. Most things to unlock in the crypt were hot garbage. And as a result, 90% of players went online to find out where the best stuff was, they unlocked it, and then never went into the crypt again. Because once again, most things in there were not worth unlocking. So no, Mortal Kombat 9 did not have more content than Mortal Kombat 1. In Mortal Kombat 9, once you finished the challenge tower and unlocked the few things in crypt that were actually worth unlocking, all you had left was the online. Oh wait, no you didn't, because the online in that game was terrible. The lag was real because there was no rollback yet. But then we have the Mortal Kombat 11 defenders, and this is where it gets hilarious. When you ask these haters how Mortal Kombat 11 has more content, do you know what they say? Oh, there's more costumes and gear stuff to customize.
Yeah.
Son,
that counts. That absolutely counts, because some of these motherfuckers really like to play Barbie dress up. It's me. I am motherfuckers. Okay? All right, we like to deck our characters out in different gear. We like to make them look different. We like to have different skins and different colors and everything else, and have like 4 different versions of the same character that looks slightly different, right? And like one that looks wildly different, right? That is more content. That is objectively more content. MK11, as much as I fucking hate that game, objectively has more content than MK1. It has everything that MK1 has in a more condensed manner. No, it doesn't have the stupid, I don't even, it's not Conquest. What the fuck is that game mode even called? Mario fighting game, Mario Party, single player, shoot me in the face, whatever. I don't know. That's all the Towers of Time were. It's just a condensed version of that. You still got rewards and everything else, dude. It's condensed. You're not having to spend fucking 5 minutes running from one thing to the next thing. Oh, there's a block, and oh, I gotta go around, and oh, I gotta go back this way to complete it. Like, you know, at least you're just doing a fucking tower. And there's more gear, there's more options, there's more variations, there's different ways to play, you know, whatever. Dude, there's more content. It's objectively true.
You listen here. Nobody buys Mortal Kombat to play dress up. Having
Yeah,
more
we
fashion
do.
options does not make the game better, and most people would not even count it as content. Having more costumes and stuff to unlock in your game does not make it better. And furthermore, if you look closely, a lot of those extra costumes are just the first 2 costumes with the assets mixed around to make it look like
What
a
is
new
MK1?
costume, but it's actually not. Now don't get it twisted. I think having extra costumes is cool, especially with the DLC characters. I think Mortal Kombat 11 did a good job in that regard. I don't disagree that it's awesome to have more costumes, but I will say that if you think
one big thing that he failed to mention in that little, like, he put the, you know, a little sidebar down at the bottom, you know, to let us know, oh, MK1 also has more skins by now. You failed to mention that most of those skins cost, when they first started coming out, you were paying $10 to $12 for one of those skins. Even after they nerfed the price, whatever you want to say, you're still paying like $5 to $8 for those skins. I know there were paid skin packs in Mortal Kombat 11 and they were sick, right? Like we got the original Mortal Kombat movie cast. Paid for that in a fucking heartbeat. I don't remember paying for a whole lot of costume packs because like, I know there were more costume packs, but there was already a lot of costumes in the game that you weren't paying like $5 to $12 fucking dollars for.
Having more stuff to unlock means more content outright, then you're simply wrong. Mortal Kombat 11 had Towers of Time, which was cool, but Mortal Kombat 1 has that too, along with Invasions and pretty much every other mode that Mortal Kombat 11 had. The only game mode that Mortal Kombat 11 has and Mortal Kombat 1 doesn't is the AI versus mode. And I know darn well you're not playing that, because if you're wasting time in that mode, then well, I just kind of feel bad for you. It's not fun. The Crypt was fun though, and I do hope that in the next Mortal Kombat game, NetherRealm brings it back. However, at the same time, I'm not going to pretend that having the Crypt suddenly makes Mortal Kombat 11 great, because just like in Mortal Kombat 9,
taken the Crypt
most players
over
beat the Crypt in under
heartbeat.
1 month, and then had no reason to ever go back down there really. Which is why in the grand scheme of things, you can't claim that it's extra content, because it was gone immediately. As you can see, Mortal
Can't. What? You can't claim that something that released with the game as an extra game mode was extra content because you completed it in a month. What? Let me take that in. Give me a second, chat. Okay. Okay. I think I'm good.
Kombat 1 has a lot of haters, and like mentioned at the start of this video, I'm not referring to people with valid criticism or people who simply dislike the game or prefer a different game. That's completely valid and very normal. Today's video was just about the haters, people who look for any reason to complain about Mortal Kombat 1 because that's a popular opinion to have right now. It's kind of in vogue to hate on Mortal Kombat 1, but honestly, a lot of fighting games right now are being hated on by their community. For example, I hear Tekken 8 is getting a lot of hate from its audience, and Guilty Gear Strive is getting a lot of hate from its audience, and as a result, Mortal Kombat 1 having haters is nothing new, but even so, I wanted to point out how ridiculous some of these arguments are. Like the title of my video says, Mortal Kombat 1 haters are dumb. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.
Okay. Alright. I don't think it's the popular thing to do to hate on Mortal Kombat 1. I also don't think it's a bad thing to voice your complaints about a video game that you paid money for, right? And especially Mortal Kombat, right? Because we've been heading in a direction with Mortal Kombat since Mortal Kombat 11, or actually people would argue since Injustice 2, right? That the games just aren't fun anymore. They're not well designed, they're not well put together, the animations are bad, they seem rushed, right? The stories are not well written for the most part, even if I enjoy some of it, right? The stories are not well written for the most part. There's a whole lot of problems with Mortal Kombat right now. And NRS and WB as a publisher and company, NRS as a game developer, and Mortal Kombat as a franchise, right? There's a whole lot of problems there. And I think it's actually the best thing that you can do for Mortal Kombat to actually voice your complaint, to make your complaint known. Even if you're turning into like a nagging nanny, like, you know, whatever you want to call it, dude. Like, even if you're nagging about it, you're constantly complaining about it, whatever. Yeah, I paid money for this, I'll complain if I want, but also, that's how things get better. The things don't get better by just sitting back and being like, oh, well, it's alright. You know, it's okay. It's pretty good. It's better than the last one, so it's good. Like, no, that's not how things get better. Even if it is better than the last one, you still need to voice complaints about it. People voice complaints about Street Fighter 6 all the time. I do. Street Fighter 6 is one of my favorite fighting games in the past, like, fucking, probably since Injustice 2. But the throw loops in that game are fucking annoying, right? It's not well designed when it comes to its Oki. The Oki is literally throw loops and baiting, you know, throw loops for a punish counter, a whiff punish. Right? That's the Oki of Street Fighter 6. Straight up. Tekken 8, yeah, it's got problems. It's a little bit too 50-50. Like, we want 50-50s. We want to be able to open people up, right? But 50-50s maybe don't need to be as quick as they are in Tekken 8. They really maybe don't need to be as quick as they are. There are legitimate problems, but Mortal Kombat 1 objectively has more problems than any other fighting game on the market right now. Okay, any other popular fighting game on the market. It has more problems than King of Fighters 15, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Guilty Gear Strive. It had more problems than Dragon Ball FighterZ pre-rollback netcode Dragon Ball FighterZ, and that was a big problem for that game. Even with no rollback and delay-based netcode, Dragon Ball FighterZ was 100 times more fun than what MK1 is right now, dude. Like, look at the developers. Look at how they handle shit. Man, look at how they handle shit. Ghostface came out. There was a ton of momentum for the game. People were enjoying it. But then, you know what NetherRealm did? There was a broken move in the game for Ghostface, right? It could lead to an infinite, I believe it was. And you know what they did as fighting game developers? They removed the entire move. And I don't think it's in the game still to this day. I don't know. Because I don't care to play it now, right? Like, they took out a vital part of his moveset just on a dime. They just took it out. They're like, oh, well, shit's broke. Take it out. That's not a good developer. That's not a good fighting game developer. And I think, you know, I'm not trying to be rude, but I think it's like, bro, we have to call out these companies. We have to call out these game developers when they're doing shit like this, right? Literally, Mortal Kombat is like this close to ending up like Marvel versus fucking Capcom, which is just now coming back. Like 8 years later, dude, 7 years later. Like, I really don't want Mortal Kombat to head down that route, but that's the route we're heading down. Fucking Combat Pack 3 and another story expansion just got canceled, according to insiders. So that's not grounded information, but it's pretty reliable information from the people it came from. It got canceled because Chaos Reigns sold so poorly. And no, that wasn't all NRS's fault. That was WB's fault, somewhat, because of the price gouging. But also, like, it was a 2-hour story expansion and 6 characters. Dude, 2 hours, and 6 characters. I don't think any Mortal Kombat 1 haters are like, okay, some of them, some people on the internet are dumb, but you can't, the people who don't like the story, they pay for the game. If they don't like the story to the point where it makes it a bad game for them, they pay for the fucking game, right? And I don't think people should be getting their panties in a twist because Jim Bob Bo Billy, who bought Mortal Kombat 1 for the fucking story mode, thinks it's a bad game, jumps on fucking Twitter and says, hey, Mortal Kombat 1's a bad game because it's got a bad story. I don't think we should have our panties up in the water for that, but I think it's true, right? Like, maybe not from my point of view or opinion, but like, if the story makes the game bad for him, the story made the game bad for him. Combos are too long in Mortal Kombat 1 because damage is too low. Right? Mortal Kombat 11 objectively had more content than MK1. Just because you don't view costumes and skins and gear as content, it is objectively content. Just in the same way that you cannot say that because the crypt was done a month into the game coming out for a lot of people, you can't call that content. You can call that content. That is objectively content in the game. Mortal Kombat 11 has more content than Mortal Kombat 1. It's objectively true. In the same way that Injustice 2, I believe, had objectively the most content. Maybe MK11 even outdoes Injustice 2 because of the crypt. It's objectively true. Mortal Kombat 1 does not have the content that MK11 had. And even if it does have more skins now, you have to pay for like 95% of those motherfucking skins, dude. So, no. No. Dude, I don't know. I just feel like this one was made just to be spicy.